Welcome fans, we're here in Abbotsford, Canada, British Columbia for the final round of the 2012 UCI BMX Supercross circuit. Over the last month we've had some pretty big races, important races, but today is again another important race as riders are head to head. We'll be going for the battle of the title for elite men and elite women. In the elite women's class, Caroline Buchanan's been one of the stars all year long, but she has some riders right on her heels, and any one of those two riders that are here, Brooke Crane and the French girl, whose name I forget, which is really good. Yeah, Magali Poitier are up for the title, and it's going to be a good battle for the women. And on the men's side, it's between this year's most consistent two riders have been Connor Fields and Sam Willoughby. Mathematically, they're the only two that have a chance at the title, so it will be a good battle once we get things kicked underway for the men. A little bit smaller field here, but some of the world's best riders and medalists from the Olympics are here. So we will try to grab some of them as we're going through the practice and get things going. But as we said, it's going to be an interesting race. We're going to bring up the head honcho of the UCI BMX Supercross. That's going to be Johan Lindstrom from GSX. Ask him, give his feedback on this event here. First time that we're in Canada for the Supercross series, and kind of just give you an oversight. But as you can see, the track behind us, beautiful track, permanent facility. A lot of riders already have it. They actually had their Canadian National Championships last weekend, so we know it's going to race well. But we'll bring in Mr. Johan, and he will give you his best interpretation of what's going to happen this weekend. So Johan, I just brought the fans up to speed on what's going on with the title chases, but let's just talk about the race here right now.
Yeah, Pete, no, obviously it's the first time we're here in Abbotsford, Canada for the Supercross World Cup. I mean, we were here in 2007, Victoria Island with the World Championships. Great events, good memories, and so we're stoked to be back in Canada. It's beautiful scenery, and you know, they have a good program going on up here, and we're super stoked to bring the World Cup here and boost it even more.
So as I said, this is the only permanent facility Supercross track in Canada. You guys showed up here. What were your impressions of the track?
Well, we had the Tom and Elite Tracks crew here a few months ago to boost it up a bit and rebuild it, and you know, it's a nice little track, to be honest. I mean, it's a little bit between Copenhagen and Fridges. If you guys, the fans, remember those tracks, it might look small and simple, but it's kind of technical, and it's one of those tracks where you might need to go a little bit slow to go fast, kind of thing. So I think we're in for a good racing, absolutely. Yeah,
that's what a lot of the riders I've talked to so far commented on. This is going to be a racer-style track. So what kind of race action do you think? I said we have a little bit smaller field than usual, but the riders that we do have here are the most talented in the world.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing. I mean, normally we cut out half of the field during time trials, and here we don't. So we're going to end up with the same number of riders in the eights and quarters and whatsoever. So I think the riders that are here are stoked because they don't sweating it. They know they're going to be in the show, most of them at least. And I think yeah, from there on it's going to be a good race for sure.
All right, well, a lot of interesting and exciting things coming up this weekend. We got to thank Johan as always to get this series coming along, and we're going to get to some of the pro riders that we have around the track. Thanks. Don't know. So luckily for us, we have a guy who's probably got the track down a little bit, Mr. David Herman. You might recognize him from podiums across the world on Supercross, as well as his appearance at the Olympics just a month ago. So David, you've been able to ride the track a little bit. What are your thoughts about it?
I like it. You know, Vancouver's a cool place. It doesn't take a lot to get this track dialed. You know, it's one of the easier tracks, which is nice for the last race of the year. You know, it makes it a lot less stressful.
So coming off the Olympics, there's a lot of stuff I saw personally that you got to experience after the fact that seemed pretty cool. Maybe some of the fans want to know about it. David's from Denver, so he's in one of those little bit different populated areas in America, but a lot of big things happened for you afterwards.
Yeah, as soon as I got home, I got to meet the mayor with a small group of Colorado Olympians. You know, there's only like 3 of us that are actually from there, and then maybe another 5 that live at the Olympic Training Center that get invited to do this kind of stuff. And then I got to go to a Rapids soccer game, which is the professional soccer team in Denver, and I was recognized on the field. I got a Rapids jersey with my name on it, and then I got to do the same thing for the Denver Broncos game. I got to go on the field during the first time out, and I go on the big screen and get recognized, and then I got a football with my name on it and stuff like that.
So all that stuff is really cool, but what we're here for this weekend is the Supercross finals. I think you have a mathematical chance or right outside, but that doesn't really propel you to want to do good in an event, right?
No, I mean, not any more than it would normally. You know, I want to come here and get on the podium, and then at the same time have fun. You know, it's the last race, Supercross race of the year. I kind of put all my eggs into the Olympic basket. I'm here to have fun, and I have a decent shot of getting top 3 in the overall standings, and you know, that's the whole goal to come here.
And then one last question. From a guy who's won races before on any given day, and then, you know, maybe obviously you always want to live up to that expectation, but is there any one key thing or something that pops out in your mind that you feel the difference from one day where you're able to win and another day where, you know, it's just not your day?
You know, I don't know that I can really pinpoint one thing. Maybe just, you know, the confidence, thinking that you can beat every single rider in the gate, you know, not thinking that, oh, if Sam or Maris messes up, that I can have a shot to win this. You know, on the days that I did win, you know, there was never a thought like that. But, you know, really anything can happen. And there were days where I podiumed this year where I was a little surprised, but I still had that mentality.
So, and a new look for you. You look kind of fancy. You got your Fox Rockstar free agent gear on.
Yep.
And that's your Olympic bike, so maybe we can show that bike. And the fans really seem to like all the custom bikes that were out there at the Olympic Games. So.
Yep. This is my one-off helmet as well, done by Fox. They custom painted it. Got the subliminal Rockstar star in there. So that's all said and done, so I can say that now.
All right, well, good to see you. Great that you're here, and good luck this weekend on this beautiful Supercross track.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, so there you have it from one of the top pros on the circuit. Like I said, he's sitting currently 3rd overall in the point standings, has a shot at the title. It's a kind of a slim one, the way the points work out. There's points given in the time trials as well as the finals, so riders will tabulate points throughout the weekend. David right now sits a little bit outside. I think 250 points is the maximum you can earn each weekend. He might be right at that level, but that basically would mean Sam Willoughby and Connor Fields would not make the final for David to really be able to pass him in points. So, but anything could happen. We've seen it happen before. Riders crash in time trial and their day's over, unfortunately. But as we get through the rest of the weekend, we have a lot of other riders here. You know, pretty small, like I said, smaller field than normal, but a pretty big international flair of riders. And we have a lot of riders from Australia that seem to send out a team, and a few of the riders that were on the Olympic Games as well. We have one of them in holding right now. Hopefully he'll be up in just a moment. So, or not. But other than that, the Supercross, as we said, the elite practice is kind of winding down for today for the men. And then they'll go on to the women's practice later on and kind of go from there. And then tomorrow we'll have the 2-hour show for the Super Finals, which is basically the top 16 from the time trial for each of the men and the women. And we'll have that show and show you it all live here. But right now we'll get to you with, like I said, one of those Australian Olympians. That's going to be Brian Kirkham, and he's here. And just you got some time to practice on the track. Let us know what you thought about it.
Yeah, the track's good. It's sort of not as crazy as what we've been riding lately, but it's still really tacked, and you got to be on point with your skills. So it's going to be a good weekend, I think.
So you had a little bit of time off since the Olympics, and then raced last weekend within the United States. Tell the fans, you know, to me it looks like you've kind of come to America to try to steal our money and our women. So let all your fans know what your plans are.
Yeah. So from now, I moved out and I'm living out in Marietta. So I've been out here for I think it's my 3rd week out here now. Well, I'm up in Canada now, but yeah. So I'm out here until after Grands. I go back for a little bit and then come out for next season.
So as a rider, where kind of like right now you're leaving, it's becoming the summertime in Australia. So the weather advantage probably the same. What's your main reason for coming from Australia to America to train for BMX?
Yeah, I don't know. If you speak to a lot of Australian guys, and we all look up to the American scene. So it's always a Australian BMX's dream to come and race the ABA series. So it's one thing I haven't done yet. I've come out and raced bits and pieces, but I've never done a full season. So it's you know, just ticking a box of a lifetime goal. So you know, I'm stoked it's come true.
Yeah, I saw you bought a car, so that means you're here for a little bit at least. So who are you staying with while you're out here, or out in California?
Yeah, staying out with Barry Nobles and Caroline Buchanan's. She's moved out too, so they've got a house, and yeah, I'm just renting a room off of them. So it's a good scene. That's where all the pros are at the moment, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, so we'll get back to the track and the racing. What you know, looking at the track, Johan kind of described it more of like a Frejus style track where it's a real racer's track. How do you think racing will go down once it starts on Saturday?
Man, it's tight. It's not as wide open as what we're used to. So I think racing is going to be really hectic. It's going to be a lot of action in the turns and over the jumps and stuff like that. You're just going to run out of room. So it's going to be pretty hectic at the back. So you try and get at the front. Yeah,
the goal is not to be in the back. Yeah. I think you've established that.
Yeah,
so let's talk about bikes, because that's a question we get a lot of times from some of the fans is the setup on your bike. Between the Supercross events, we can just start within there. Do you ever change the setup of your bike depending on the way the track is?
The only thing I change is my gearing. I run roughly the same gearing, but just a bigger cog. I run, like the big running cog. So it just feels, it's an easier gearing, but it feels better at the top end. I don't know, it's just personal preference. When I go back to the ABA stuff, I just put a normal 44 on. So that's the only thing I change.
So between all the different types of racing, your bike, other than the gearing, primarily stays the same?
Yeah, exactly the same, yep.
Okay. Well, that's good. Like I said, a lot of people always have questions just asking about bike setup and differences. Is there anything special, custom, or something you feel that gives you a little bit better advantage in the way your bike's set up different from any other riders out there?
Nah, man, mine's stock standard. Yeah, it's everything you see you can buy. So there's nothing special to it. So it's all good products.
Well, one of the special things is the guy riding it, one of the top in the world, Brian Kirkham, national champion from Australia. As you'll see, some of these riders have these fancy left sleeves, and it's what it is a replica of their country's flag to represent that they are the national champion. And Brian did win that national championship this year, earlier in Australia. So good luck, and thanks for stopping by.
No problem.
So as we said, we're going to get you some of the other riders that are around. And what the good thing about this event is, it's a little, like I said, it's the last event of the year. We're just coming off the Olympic Games, so there's a lot of riders that decided they're going to take a little bit of a break. But at the meantime, there's other riders that said, you know what, especially from North America, that said, I'm going to come up and do this as my first big international outing for Supercross. And one of those is this young man right here, Nick Kohler from California. Nick, tell us about, you practice on this track. You get to ride at Chula Vista a lot, but tell us how you feel out on this track.
Yeah, I feel great on this track. I mean, I've been out here a few times with Lane because he lives in Seattle, so I made a point to go out to his house and stay and come ride this track. But I like it. It's a fun track to ride.
So you've raced the Chula Vista race a couple times. Is there any other Supercrosses that you've been to?
I've been to the Worlds, but those aren't a Supercross track. But this is a lot different than racing our junior men race at the Worlds. So
between the two tracks that you are able to ride in California, how would you compare, and what would you say, what type of different racing we're going to see on this style track?
I would say between the Beijing track and the London track that I've ridden in Chula, that this track's a lot more tight, so there's going to be a lot more racing, and like those tracks you see guys open up a little bit, and this one I think we're going to be close on the first straight and on the second straight especially.
So like I said, you got to practice a little bit. Tomorrow's a big day for time trials. What do you think on this track? Where do you think time can be lost or gained when you're riding at the track by yourself?
Yeah, I think the second straight will be a big time gainer or loser, because you come out of the first turn and you see some guys overshooting it because it's just a lot more tight, and you see some guys going higher and lower, but I think that'll be the big decider.
All right, well, good luck to you this weekend, and we and all the fans will be watching live tomorrow during the Super Finals. So if you can get into that top 16, you get to see your fans again tomorrow. If not, and you're just in the top 64, which I'm pretty sure you will be, you're going to be in the show on Saturday, and we're going to have it from the first gate drop to the award ceremony right here live on BMX Live TV. So thanks.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, so as we have a couple more riders, and we saved the best two riders for last. A couple of the big heavy hitters, and you'll notice they have the first one has a fancy shirt on, and he's taking his sweet time. He when he's allowed to do that type of stuff off the track, he's slow as molasses. But once he gets on that gate, and as you've seen so far, if you followed the series this year, he's been one of the fastest riders out there. The winner of the first 3 rounds, winner of the first 4 time trials, as well as the World Championship Super Final time trial. That's why he has his fancy striped shirt on. Mr. Connor Fields. Connor, you've been out here. You've ridden a lot of these Supercross tracks this year. What are your thoughts about this track so far?
I really like it. It's kind of a change of pace from the rest of the tracks we've been riding this year. They've all been pretty big and wide open, like Poppendal. And this one's a bit tighter, and you got to be more precise. So yeah, it's just a good change of pace, and I'm enjoying it so far.
So, there's the internal battle for you and and Sam Willoughby for the overall title. But then there's another one, and a lot of people may know this if they know Connor very well. Tori Nyhog's one of your best buddies, grew up racing side by side with him, and this is his home track, more or less. So how's that going to go for you this weekend?
You know, having a race in your home track, it can do one of two things to you. It's your house, so you want to defend your house. And I know I'm feeling well from competing in Chula Vista, and either he's gonna ride really. I think he'll ride well. Look good in practice, and we'll see how he manages the home track advantage.
So as we said, you've ridden the track. You said it's a little bit different when since you're a Supercross specialist, a racer specialist. I mean, you're pretty much one of the top guys in the world right now. But you're definitely the time trial specialist. You've surpassed Mike Day as time trial specialist. Congratulations. As you said, this is a fancy shirt. But tell us tomorrow when you do time trials where you think time will be gained or lost on this track.
It's the same on every single track. Time's going to be won or lost just by not making mistakes. And if you can get through the lap and say you didn't have anything you would want to change, you're going to be sitting with a good time. And there's a lot of really tight and technical sections here that are going to make the time trials interesting. You make a couple of mistakes and it'll drop you down a few spots. But I don't ever really focus on one area or one specific part to gain time. You just got to try and concentrate on having a clean lap.
And we asked Brian Kirkham the same question, but we have a lot of riders that ask about bike setup and what maybe you do differently within, if say this track is more of a racer's track than a supercross track, I would say. I mean, that's what some people have said. But within all the disciplines of BMX, is there anything that you set up differently on your bike when you go to the races?
No, I have one setup that I leave throughout regardless, and I predict that that'll pretty much always stay the same. I'm always tinkering with stuff. I put a new 20 mil front hub on a couple weeks ago, but generally it'll all stay the same.
And what about that seat post that's on your bike? A lot of people kind of see them in the background, see them in some photos. Can you explain what's going on? You don't look that tall.
Well, when you're just cruising around, when you're riding around, whether you're warming up or just riding, from your car to your pit, our seats are so low because we don't want to hit them when we're jumping on the jumps. And so they're really uncomfortable to sit down and pedal on. Your knees are in your chest. So we have these long seats that are just made for cruising and makes life easier. They don't look the best, but they're functional.
Well, that's what it's about, fans, the function. So sometimes, as you said, it doesn't maybe look the best, but the rest of your outfit and the rest of your bike looks pretty good. So you're feeling good, you're looking good. What's your predictions for the race this weekend, if you dare to even make one?
I predict that it's going to be a beautiful day up here in Canada, and going to have a good time riding my bicycle.
Well, I guess that's all you can ask for. If you're a professional athlete, the thing you want to do is have a good time no matter what you're doing. And at the end of the day, if you get the result, even better. So thanks and good luck for this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, so there you go. That's the leader of the Supercross series right now for elite men, Connor Fields. As we said, he has a lead over Sam Willoughby, who was here, but probably took the time that Connor was up here to go and try to find some secret lines out on the track and see what he could come up with, because like I said, there's going to be a head-to-head battle between those two. 70 points are between the two, and Connor just reminded me his birthday's on Friday, so the present he wants the most is to win that super final time trial. And for your fans, send him in some tweets, because he likes to be the Twitter guy out here. So in case you didn't hear me the first time, Connor's 20th birthday is tomorrow. But so we got 10 more minutes here. As we said, the riders are kind of like done with practice. They had a lot of time here, so we may be in a little bit of dry spell of bringing up some of the world's best athletes. But right now, I think we have a special treat for you. Another guy who likes to take his sweet time all the time, off the track, on the track. It's a different story. You may remember him from way back in 2008 when he was really good, but when he was great, and now he's just like
Pete on the mic saying stupid things.
Oh, well, I guess that's the end of our interview with Donnie. So Donnie's here, like I said, one of the world's best riders, winner of this series overall before. You're here, you rode the track. Tell us what you think about it.
It's good. It's kind of reminiscent of the Supercross tracks of old, a few years ago. It's pretty tight, very technical. It's going to be really tight racing, but it's good. They put on a good venue out here, and I think it'll be amazing for the spectators.
I think you may be one of the only, there's a handful, but I think you may be the only rider, bar other than when you were injured, to hit every Supercross there ever has been. So you have a pretty consistent record of being in the main event as well as being on the podium. How can you tell us and tell the riders out there what you think it took to be such a icon on the Supercross circuit.
Well, the Supercross series is where it's at. GSX, been doing it for years, been doing it great. That's why I don't want to miss the series. It's a great series. It breeds great riders. As you can see, all these young riders racing these tracks coming up, they're better than we used to be. So it's all about hitting these races and trying to prove yourself, trying to get some great results in there. As far as the consistency I had, I've just been at it for a long time, and I've been at this series since it debuted, and I've just been very fortunate to have great people supporting me, to be able to get me to these races, and luckily I've been having great trainers and the great results. So it's a blessing that I've done what I have.
So we're getting really to the heart and the meat and potatoes this weekend. The gloves are off, so I'm going to ask you. You are the best guy out here. You were the overall champion. Now, sometimes you're in the pack, not in the back. You're still in the pack. You're still consistent. But as a professional athlete, how does that help motivate you to come to these events when you say that the next breed of these kids are coming up? And at the same point, how do you want to let these kids know that you're still here and you're not going anywhere anytime soon?
Well, I've been having these conversations more and more with people in the industry and my fellow competitors, us vets out there. It's like, it's up to us. This is the way everything goes in life. The young guys come up and push the envelope, and either we need to step up or we need to step out of the way. And that's good, because some people can handle it and some people can't. And I'm a competitor, and I love my sport. I love my sponsors. I love the fans. I love to race, and I hate to get beat. So, these last few years have been dismal for me. I went from the top to the bottom, and now I want to be back on the top again. And what people don't realize is, unfortunately, when I was hurt, it seemed everybody was making the most gains in the sport. It was right after Beijing, basically, and everybody, was just stepping up big time. So I had to not only get back to where I was before, but, up 2 levels to where these guys are now. And what I've been telling people is, anybody can be a champion. Anybody can be young and hungry and have the right things going for them and win titles. But I think there's very few legends in the sport, and you got to look at why those people are legends. I mean, they stuck around through the highs and the lows, and they were able to come back and come back from just crazy things happening to them. So that's where I want to be a legend. I put my whole life into this, and I want to be one of the greatest that's anybody ever remembers. So I know that that's not going to be easy, and that's what it is. But I think that if I can come back from this and kind of hopefully get back to the top, that I can at least make myself believe that it can be done, and that's shows everybody else out there that no matter what you have in life, it could be sports, it could be just family stuff, you can come back from bad things.
Well, that is the truth, and that's a great definition of who you are as an athlete. And fans, if you've seen his results this year, don't let it fret you, because just over a week ago, second place, one of the biggest nationals within the United States. So I think you're back on your way up to the top. So this weekend, keep it consistent, get back up there.
Yeah, that race in Louisville, Kentucky, a few weekends ago was second place. That was it's my first podium in a year. That was my best finish in 3 years. So it is what it is. People can say whatever they want, but that's my best race in 3 years, and I'm happy for what it is, and I'm grateful to still be feeling good on my bike.
Well, thanks so much for the insight, and just one last piece about Donnie. He just told you took his heart and soul out and said his best race in 3 years. I saw him 5 minutes after that race. He still wasn't happy because he was second place. So time to turn it around this weekend, but good luck to you.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, so you've talked to a lot of the elite men. You've got a good idea of what the title chase is going down. Now we've got arguably the world's best woman on the Supercross track. Another fancy shirt, Caroline Buchanan. Caroline, you haven't been able to practice yet, but you've checked out the track. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we've had a brief little. Barry.
Super fans.
It looks good. I mean, it really reminds me of Frejus a few years ago, and that was a track that I enjoyed. It's completely different to London, but it's just nice to get back on the BMX again. We've had a little bit of time off after London and kind of let the whole Olympics soak in, and just looking forward to get back into some racing.
So we just talked with Brian Kirkham a little while ago, and he had mentioned that he's moved to California for a period of time, and that he's actually a housemate of yours. So I guess same thing. What's your plans for racing in the upcoming years?
Yeah, it's good having Brian there. So he just bought a new car and spray painted the wheels and spray painted our driveway. So Barry's not too stoked about that, but it's nice having other riders around to train with. And the rest of the season, I'm just trying to chase that Grands title and a couple more races coming up, and hopefully this weekend leading the series, and want to wrap that one up.
Yeah, so we documented before about the points chase and everything. So basically for you, how do you look at to the weekend where everyone said, oh, it's Caroline's title to have, no wonders, but how do you approach a weekend like this where you do have a little bit of an advantage because you have a lead in points and you're, as I said, being a consistent rider all year long, but how do you take us through a week on how you look at the race?
I think, you can't really be too overconfident. I mean, at Olympics I was feeling great and look what happened. So I think I just got to take the racing as it comes. And I know Magli Podia, she's here, she's, anything can happen between us two, and I think she's still definitely within the points chase to take it. Elise isn't here, she's sitting in second, but yeah, it's going to be close and just a tight event, and you can't count anyone out. And I think Felicia Stencil, I just raced her a few weeks ago in the ABA races, and pretty excited to see her on the Supercross track because she's the next generation for sure.
Well, I know that we get a lot of fan requests, and they always ask about the guys' bikes. And one of the things that they've actually specifically asked was about your bike, because we always get these questions about bike setups. And tell us about on your race bike specifically. Do you change anything within the Supercross series of the events itself?
Mainly just my gearing. That's the only thing that changes. So we put the bigger chainring on, which just allows us to have more top end speed. So on the bigger ramp, it's still a small gearing. I've always been a little girl, run small gears, but just with the bigger size of the chainring, it feels like you're able to stay on top of your pedals and you kind of get that more top end speed. So basically that's the only thing that changes on a Supercross track. My bike, run my tires pretty hard, about 90, but pretty much everything's just stock and standard, and this is actually my Olympic bike.
So I know that was the other thing. If a lot of the fans saw those special bikes at the Olympics, just tell us a little bit what the different setup, or I mean, it's just the paint scheme that's different, but just talk about that a little bit.
Basically, the paint scheme is just different, green and gold, very patriotic, Aussie, and the new Sins cranks that they're actually going to be out on the market next year selling. So I really like them. I used to run Shimano, and I feel no difference in these, and really been enjoying that. Then got the Olympic helmet as well. So. No, still stoked on the Olympics and Aussie pride.
Okay, and so let's talk about your uniform. This is the first time you get to wear these World Championship stripes on the track. Does it make a difference to you? I mean, you look good in it, but when you put it on?
I think it brings me back to kind of the mountain bike days. I had a few years in the four-cross where I got to wear it, and it's nice to put them back on again. And just to be able to practice and show that time trial, it's still an event and still a World Championships, and it's not being forgotten. So that's good.
That's great. So. Like I said, this weekend, big opportunity for you to win the title. When you go tomorrow for time trial, do you think there's any place specific we asked the guys, but for the women, different side of the track, any place where you think you can make or break it on the time trial tomorrow?
Quickly kind of having a look at the track, I think it's one of the few races that the first turn lines up really good for the women, so that's going to be an advantage for us. I think where I always make my time up is in the back end of the course with my fitness and just being able to carry speed through the turns, which I've learnt through doing downhill and four-cross. So basically for me, that's the only areas, but such a tight sort of short track that the times are always closer for time trials at this style of track.
Yeah, and you've touched on that. I noticed that, and I know you noticed it, but a lot of these races, you were sitting in second place coming behind. What do you attribute that extra push in your training, or to be able to come from behind, in your mind go over that adversity of not being in the lead and then still win these races?
Yeah, I've always kind of been that rider, races and over to the finish line, and my gates has been something that I'm not always the quickest out of the gate, so I never give up and come from behind. And just being fit, I do a lot of swimming in my off season, so that helps with the back end of my course. And I think really the mountain bike side of things has helped me with carrying my speed through the turns and being able to hold that kind of track momentum and reel girls in.
All right, well, I know you're going to get ready to practice here. You probably need to go warm up. Thanks so much for stopping by, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, so there you have it, right from Caroline Buchanan's mouth about her title quest this weekend. And we're going to close things off maybe more symbolically as well as physically, as we're going to have an interview here with Mr. Robert DeWild. to Wilde, Baldy Bob, Curly Bob, Pizza Bob, whatever you want to call him. So as one of the first champions of this overall series, Bob, you've been on the circuit, and as we just talked with Donnie, probably since the inception of the Supercross series, even back to Vans Triple Crown and the X Games and stuff like that. So as the development of the series has gone on, what's to where we are here today, what do you see as the biggest differences that have gone through?
There's a lot more good riders out there. Before it was maybe 5 to 10 riders. Now it's about 40 really good riders all around from the world. So the level of intensity has risen a lot. So it's it got a little bit more intense out there than 10 years ago.
So this is a big weekend for a lot of riders. I think I heard it was a big weekend for you as well. Anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, this is going to be my last one after. What was the Vans Triple Crown Supercross? I know the Vans, no, not the Supercross at Woodward East. When was that? 04, 05? Well, that was my first race, and this is going to be my last one. I won the first one, so hopefully I'll be able to win the last one. That would be nice.
All right, fans, so there you hear it, one of our elder statesmen on his way out, but when he's out on that track, he's always on his way out towards the front. Bob DeWild. From us as the fans, thanks so much for giving us all this entertainment over the years. I know the last few races, the entertainment value was those crashes, which you always walked away from. You know, it's always fun. It's always fun to laugh after you crash and walk away. But thanks for being out there all these years and bringing BMX up to a different level, especially in your home country.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank Johan and Tom and Maddie for extending my career for another 6-7 years maybe. So and I know we had our difference back in the day, but I really appreciate what he's done over the years and gave us what we have right now.
All right, so there you hear it right from Bob DeWild. That's going to be it for today's show. Tomorrow we will have those super final time trials for you shown live, and then on Saturday we'll have the whole event. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks.